so much, Shilpa, for agreeing to do this. We're really, really happy to have you here. And like Ayushi mentioned, you're a woman with a Midas touch. There have been businesses across sectors that you have been invested in. So, we couldn't have had a more apt spokesperson here. So, just to begin with, with the advent of social media, and marketing has really changed. So, as a celebrity, as an influencer, and you are the OG influencer, because your yoga videos, the kind of followers you had, almost decades back. So how has the entire game changed? What is your thought about that?
A very good evening to everyone present here. That's a really interesting question. Change is the only constant. So while people are evolving and tastes are changing, you will see different trends. Thank you. Back in the day when I actually joined social media, I actually was quite a late starter, and I got onto social media because my niece in London, this was I think 12 years ago, thought that I was uncool. And I remember the words she said to me. She's like, "Shilpa Mami, you're not on social media, you're not cool." So she started the account, and I remember that it was her password. And when I joined social media, this was after my Big Brother win. I wish I had joined social media maybe around that time. I'd have had a better spike. But people are on it today because they want to be famous, they want to be recognized, they want to become influencers. Back in the day when I joined it, I just joined it for the lark. And I used the platform to play catalyst, in the whole health and wellness scenario. So when I started those, when I did my first yoga DVDs, I did it out of a place of passion. And it wasn't because, I felt that was the in thing to do. In fact, as a matter of fact, back in the day, yoga was very, or rather, it was viewed as done by only people who are old. So I wanted to change people's mindset about yoga. So I took to social media to promote yoga most of the time. And then, obviously, while I did that, people felt that, oh, she's only promoting yoga. And, she's just blessed with that body and she doesn't eat. So then I started this trend of showing people that I'm absolutely normal, and I also binge. So the whole Sunday binge thing started because of that. So trends will keep changing. It'll come and go. And if you ask me, social media is quite a bane in today's time and age. But you have to make the best of it. So while 70% of my social media is concentrated on kind of influencing people in the right direction when it comes to their health, 30% is maybe focused on style and all the rest of it. But the major part of it is this. But that will also change, and with time you have to just kind of reinvent, and to stay relevant you have to kind of jump on the bandwagon.
Absolutely, you have to stay relevant. And of course, social media has also opened this entire gamut where you can monetize your asset, So your followers have become your assets. So, because the number of followers you have, there are the kind of brand endorsements and other things that you can, win. Also, I wanted to touch upon Bollywood actors traditionally invested in real estate, art, but now there has been a sea change. So what is it for you? What are the kind of investment avenues that you are looking at?
Her phone was ringing. I think those are all conventional. When you use the word traditional, it's self-explanatory. But back in the day, we didn't have different avenues like cricket as an investment, for example. You could actually invest in a team, which a lot of actors have done. you can actually think of putting in your money. You're not just getting it, in terms of sweat, but also you see a lot of celebrities investing their own money, and they've got the skin in the game because they know that, the ROI will be far, or it will rather yield them much greater benefits in a shorter time. So that's why those are very conventional ways of investing. And back in the day, I think those were the options. And today, the options are so many more. So I don't blame people for using those unconventional ways, because they always say that if you have to have guts to do something different, and no guts, no glory.
Absolutely, and it takes a lot of guts, and there are a lot of investors sitting over here. Even for them, investing in an early stage company, it takes a lot of guts. It's the instinct that they play upon. And you were an early investor in Mamaearth, which has seen a stellar IPO. How has your experience been investing with Mamaearth?
Is this mine? Yeah. No, I mean, for me, Mamaearth was my first D2C brand. And when I invested in it, back in the day, actors were not that pro about putting in their own money. But because I had made other investments in other businesses, I felt, why not do it with a brand endorsement? And if you really believe in a product, and today's audiences and your consumers are so smart, they know when you are completely invested in a business or a product. So when you're just leveraging your name and they see that you're just saying those things because you've been paid for it, the whole perspective is different. In comparison to if they know that they know that the endorser has also invested their own money. So when Varun and Ghazal came to me and pitched the product to me, it was more of an emotional decision than a commercial decision, because I was also a user. I took all the products, I used it as a mom, and I really felt there was a huge lacuna for those made safe products for kids in our country. And as a mom, I was struggling. I mean, I could afford to go to London and get those foreign products, but there were a lot of parents out here whose children were suffering with eczema and rosacea and sensitive skin, and they didn't know where to buy products that were safe and dermatologically tested. So I felt that this was a solution to a problem, a very big problem, and that's where my investment comes in. When you show me a solution to a problem, you'll get my attention and you'll get my investment. So for me, when I got back to Varun and Ghazal, I was like, okay, I'll endorse your product. And they were like, we can't afford your price. So then we figured out another way to go about the whole deal. I said, okay, I am totally sold on the product and we'll do it this way. And it just worked. And I think it's for the record now. It's one of those case study kind of investments. So I feel really thrilled, and I feel it was such an enriching experience. Yes.
Right, so like Ghazal and Varun came and pitched, I'm sure there are these lot of opportunities, or a lot of startup founders, D2C founders do come to you and pitch for opportunities. So is there any thesis that you follow? How do you really pick and choose the kind of opportunities you want to really put your money in?
If I am able to, like I think I answered it in the previous question, it has to solve a problem. So then it kind of catches my eye. I've gotten into the hospitality business. For me, I invested with Ranjit because he's really passionate. You have to have someone who's passionate, who has a vision. You have to have a goal. Otherwise, it's like, entering a race like with a horse without a great jockey. What's the use of that? So you have to invest in the brand and the person who's running the brand as well. So you have to have a very clear vision, who has a clear vision for the company and for the brand.
So do you work on your instincts?
Absolutely. It's only instinct. For me, it's never the numbers. It's that first moment of, you know, they always say you have to go with your gut. So it's that. I do all the due diligence and all of that later, but that gut instinct at that point is what works for me and has always worked for me in life.
Right. Marketing too has undergone a lot of change. You know, we're seeing, like I said earlier, you know, your followers, your social media presence has become an asset for you. So, you know, when you are endorsing these brands, what is the kind of change that you're seeing? A, the kind of opportunities that come to you, and B, you know, when you're endorsing these brands.
There's so many questions in one she keeps asking me. I don't know from where to begin.
You can break them
Part
down.
one.
Yeah, part one.
I think the first part of your question was...
How has the marketing changed?
Like I said, change is the only constant. There will be... today you have influencers. So sometimes you have a brand ambassador. That is a big, you know, star or a celebrity. And then they will still hire smaller influencers,
exactly,
you know, to mass market, to kind of give you that more friendly, more approachable feel, to understand the brand better. Because, you know, actors or other bigger celebrities will not want to spread themselves so thin.
Correct.
And every day costs the brand, which they cannot afford sometimes. So then you hire smaller influencers, so you're still penetrating the market, and that's a trend that I've seen change over time. So you could be the main brand endorser, but sometimes the influencer that has smaller or lesser number of followers do more views, you know. So their engagement with their audiences, which is actually the TG of the product that they're catering to, does better than the bigger endorsers. So that's a trend. What is your next question?
Yeah, so there are these smaller influencers who are eating into the market in that sense. So no, I mean, the way brands come to you, I mean, has that also changed, and the way you look at, you know, endorsing brands?
I have always had this clarity in my head about what I want to do and what I won't do.
Huh. We wouldn't want
yes,
to know what
there is a
strict
no. I won't do anything that I will not give my children. I will not endorse an aerated drink or a pan masala. No amount of money can lure me into doing those things. So yes, there are very strict no's. With due respect to all the people who are doing it, it's not my thing. The brand has to be synonymous with what I believe in. Because I really believe that today when I leverage my name, the consumer who sees me stand with a product need not think twice about buying it, because I will do the work for them. And that's what I stand for as a brand. And at the end of it all, I think when you're making a brand, like for example Bastion, the brand has to be bigger than you. So those are the norms with which I work, and that's how I functioned in my life. Yeah. You're looking at me very, very shocked.
No, I'm just thinking, can I pitch my next startup idea to you? So
Instinctively, I would tell you whether it will work or not. I mean, sometimes I could also be wrong. I'll actually be very, very right with it.
But you've made phenomenal money with Mamaearth. And in fact, you know, when I say that you were the OG influencer, in that sense, you were also the OG investor. Because after you, we have seen
a lot of people started that trend.
Yes.
I
mean, most of the top-rated actors are now, you know, trying to invest and endorse brands. Also, you know, that brings us to the next question, that earlier if actors and sportsperson took sweat equity to endorse the brand, now they're really putting their money. You know, that's also a sea change where, you know, we've seen that happen with, you know, Make My Trip. We've seen that happen with other brands. So how do you see that, sweat equity versus actually putting in your money?
Like I'd already said that, I think I covered it in your second question. I'll just reiterate that the consumers are really smart today. You're not dealing with people who are not aware. You're in this time and age where a 12-year-old, I'm taking example from my son, knows more about what's going on than even me. So this Gen A will tell their parent that this is something I want to buy, because that is your market. And they are not going to buy into something that, that just the ad says, So those so-called claims have to really stand the test of time, because you're in this time and age where anything can be blown out of proportion if you can't live up to what you have claimed. So when I shoot ads, there are constant fights between agencies and brands and, clients, and it's a huge gamut of emotions and things that you have to go through, because you today cannot claim just anything. So I just feel the hero truly is the product. The rest just, follows. And like I said, the person behind the product has to know how to steer it in the right direction.
When it comes to businesses, we know that you've invested in sports, you've invested in hospitality, you've invested in D2C brands. On the financial side, what are the kind of products that you invest in? Like say a mutual fund or, equity? Because that's come from our, personal finance editor, and he really wanted me to ask this question.
क्यों पूछा मुझसे ये सवाल आपने?
On money?
No, I have fund managers, and I do have someone who used to work with Oppenheimer, who's a very dear friend of mine, who advises me on where to put my money, and he sits and gives me these long lectures. And honestly, I enjoy making money. It does not drive me, and I don't know what to do with it. So I'd rather invest it, because if it's with me, I'll spend it on shopping. First, when my father was alive, God bless his cotton socks, all my papers, he had my power of attorney. So I learned rather late in life. So I started working at the age of 17. And I remember back in the day, in the 90s, when we had our first mobile phone, my father came and screamed at me because the bill was 30,000 rupees. And he was like, what are you doing? You're wasting your money. This is ridiculous. And it's not like I was taking any money from him. I was earning my own money.
That's a South Indian
that's
father
how parents are. So till he handled my money, I didn't have to think. And then after he went, actually, I didn't know what to do. And I actually learned rather late. So I literally took over all that he had saved up and done for me. And I realized how important it was to, do things the right way. But he was rather frugal. So he would only allow me to spend maybe 20% of what I earned and save all the rest. Now I spend maybe 40%, and then 40% to the government takes. बाकी बचा हुआ जो है वो चला जाता है. But I've learnt a lot with time, and thank God for people who really are in the business, who direct you and tell you how you can make more money.
Yeah, and I think especially women in India, we are very late to investing.
Yeah.
So, thematically that also has to change, where we need to learn to manage our own money.
Absolutely.
With that, I think we can probably open the floor
Sure.
for a couple of questions.
Sure. Is
from
there
the
anything
audience.
left? You've asked me everything.
No, I'm sure the audience wants
You
to
asked me
engage
3
with
questions in 1 question. Yes. Oh my God. It's a very serious question, I think.
No, it's not serious. We are all wise on hindsight, but when you were investing in Mamaearth, did you ever think that you'll make this kind of money, or it was just a gamble that you're taking where the downside was limited? And if you get an upside, fine, so be it.
So when I do deals like that, I do keep an MG, but that MG was really a pittance in comparison to what I usually take. But that's, you have to hedge your bets. But like she rightly said, you have to go with your instinct. The instinct was very clear. I didn't know I'll make so much money. There's, you know, out of so many companies, there are very few that become unicorns. So when I invested in it, it was barely valued at some 35 crores, and today we're at some crazy figures. No, I didn't think I'll make so much money, but God is great.
Hi Shilpa. So here,
Who?
here.
Acha, haan, yes. You suddenly was like Mr. India.
Hi.
Why don't you stand?
So I'm Neil Borate. I'm the Mint Money editor. So one decision around money that you've made in your life that you're most proud of, and one thing that you regret, one decision that you regret.
Oh gosh. I don't know how to answer this question. I don't have any regrets, you know, my friend, in life. I believe whatever happens, happens for the best. And happens for a reason. So I've made my most money. I've worked, today is my, I think, I'm in my 30th year in the industry. But I've made most of my money in the last 6 years. So I think, I won't say regret, but I wish I knew how to deal with money a little earlier. I would be very scared about, my father would threaten me actually. He would say things like, bless him. He knew I didn't know what to do with money, and I really wish parents would teach their kids to handle their money earlier. And it's a very wise thing to do. So my son is 12, and very recently, Raj and I gave him 5,000 rupees as pocket money and told him to invest in stocks. So he invested it, and he can see the rise. And we said that whatever you make out of it, you can buy a new pair of shoes. So you kind of incentivize the child at this age, so he knows what to do, and he understands the whole concept of gain and loss at this age. And what was the other question? Sab log teen sawal karo, ek.
No, just two parts to my question. So the other part was one decision that you're most proud of.
Mamaearth. If it's a money decision, yes.
Great. With that, we would end the
You
session.
can ask me one more question. It's okay. Two more, chalo.
Hi Shilpa, this is
Hi.
Parth Mahajan.
Hi.
So I wanted to know, like as an actor turned investor, right? What is that one thing about investing and the venture ecosystem that you love more than probably even acting?
About investing?
Yes, or being an investor.
I like the reaction that I get from people when they realize I'm not a dumb nitwit.
Which you're definitely.
Because, you know, actresses come with this, I don't know, actually, more back in the day. Today, women are far smarter, and, you know, they're more, there's so much exposure to what's happening. We had to learn the hard way. They say that the foolish ones learn from their own mistakes, the intelligent ones learn from other people's mistakes. So I was the foolish one, but I'm so happy for those mistakes I made in my life, because there's nothing that teaches you better than experience. So when people talk about education, my best friend's daughter got into Penn today, all right? And they were so excited. And I was like, Wharton or not, I don't know. But I think your biggest training ground is life and experiences. No one can teach you better than that. And I think my acumen, I think the fact that I've made foolish mistakes and I've learned from them makes me who I am today and what I stand for.
Decisions on our sleeves. Yeah, sir? that should be the last question.
Hi Shilpa, you're such a successful film star and you're such a successful entrepreneur. One question about the film business. So people are talking about, how footfalls have dipped after COVID and people are trying all kinds of things and some of them have worked. So any quick thoughts on that? What should they be doing, to get people back into the big theater experience?
We talked about change, and I really feel that, because we are dealing with smarter audiences, we have to make smarter films. You can't blame audiences for not, thronging into the theaters to watch substandard stuff sometimes, because the whole thought process has changed, and I look at it very practically and pragmatically. And belonging to the film industry, I am who I am because of the movies. But the movies that we made in the 90s cannot cater to today's audiences. So people have evolved, they've changed, they want to see stuff that is maybe aspirational, but not stupid. So it's a lot. So I think people will go into the theater to see something new. And today, the hero is not the hero, it's the script. And I also believe that it's not, you can make money depending on the budget of your movie. So if you take a big star, you're actually spending so much money on making a big movie, and you're literally then, sharing the revenue with so many other people, and you make that little money, but you've also spent so much money, versus a smaller film that you've taken with maybe a smaller star, but then makes or yields 100 crores. So which one would you prefer to make? You have to decide what kind of filmmaker you are and who you're catering to as an audience. Also, it's a dichotomy. We have the masses and the classes. That's why OTT also comes into play. So today, a film is released and you can see it in your home for no money. If you go to see a film in the theater, you have to actually pay for the samosa and the chocobar ice cream, and popcorn is more expensive than both of them put together. So it's hard. It's a difficult business. But movies will always work. It now really depends on what kind of movies. I still like to go to the theaters and watch and, have that whole feel of, it's like buying online. It's not the same when you're watching it in the house. For me, for that look and feel and that ambience and, that digital Dolby still does it for me. So there are some movies that are on a huge scale that I will still go and watch, or even if it's a small film, if I don't want to miss out on the thrill of watching it, I'll still go to the theater and watch it. What lures me into the theater? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
On that note, we'll end the session. Thank you so much for making time, and many more Mamaearths to you.
Thank you, yeah.
So
And to you.
yeah, thank you so much.